Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our Friday weather update recorded on July the 21st. And the weekend weather for New Zealand looks a bit unsettled, especially if you live in the middle part of the country and to the east. And next week we've got a cold change coming in on Wednesday, bringing a brief wintry snap to the country, which, makes sense because we are in winter. Let's have a look at the animated wind map. High pressure to the south, low pressure to the north, and it's pulling down this subtropical airflow, and that's the reason why it's raining in a number of parts of the upper North Island. That rain over the next day or two is going to slide down the eastern coastline to around about Canterbury, and that's where it runs out. Over in Australia, plenty of high pressure, but a cold change or two coming in for Western Australia at the moment. So let's take a look at this system that's affecting the North Island. So this is how it was on Friday morning. You can see that subtropical area being squashed in, and that's the reason why it's quite windy from Auckland southwards and was windy overnight, and that heavy rain as well, all being squeezed through that area. As we go through today, that low sort of drifts eastwards, and that wet weather starts to slide down the eastern side of the North Island. So this is where we are for Saturday at lunchtime in New Zealand. We've got wind and rain from about Gisborne all the way down to Christchurch, caught up in that sort of squash zone between low pressure and high pressure further to the south to southeast. So that easterly wind will be a southeasterly. It'll be pretty brisk in exposed areas and wet, obviously, in those eastern areas, but mostly dry elsewhere. Only a few showers sort of making it through Cook Strait, maybe one or two isolated ones further to the north, and maybe a drizzle patch or so around Dunedin. And in Australia, a cold front moving in there to Adelaide, and later on into Saturday, it moves in across Tasmania and Victoria, and later on falls apart around about Canberra. So on Sunday, that cold front falls apart. It's a little bit colder for you on Sunday morning in the eastern side of Australia. And in New Zealand, no real change except that wet weather has slid further down the South Island. Now it's coming in as far south as the Catlins and Otago Peninsula and Dunedin, getting that wet weather pushing in. But it's an easterly, not overly warm. There could be some snow, or there's likely to be snow on the ranges this weekend in both of the main islands. Not your traditional cold blast coming through, but there's enough cold air around at night time, especially to produce a bit of snow around the mountains and ranges, not so much elsewhere. And a west to southwest change moves in around Waikato and Auckland as we go through Sunday, and that brings in a few showers. Be a little bit breezy as well. On Monday, that low falls apart, but the wet weather still lingers around the eastern side with a southeasterly breeze there for you. And in fact, a similar setup for Australia with both Sydney and Brisbane, also with a wet southeasterly, especially up here in Queensland where there is a bit of rain lingering around for you. As we go through next week, massive high pressure system coming into Adelaide and Victoria area, and we've still got those showers up for Queensland and maybe a few coming in for New South Wales. Over in New Zealand, it's a different story. We're back to where we should be at this time of the year with a windy sou'wester and a cold front coming through here, which means by Wednesday, that cold front goes all the way up the country. And this could still change a bit. It's still a long way out, but if this is the setup, it's a classic cold front moving through with the windy south to southwesterlies afterwards and snow flurries for the mountains and ski fields. But it only takes that high to move out a little bit further, and those winds turn more westerly and it's not as cold. It's a very small change with quite a big difference. So that's the reason why, some of the cold blasts we've had recently haven't been that bad, because the westerlies, they're basically dominating our weather pattern at the moment. Even if you've got an easterly at the moment, the westerly flow is the main feature. That's all from me. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.